practicing with each other, you know what I do? I would go out and practice with my best friend down the street. After practice, we'd put in the time, and then we'd be like, oh yeah, I'd try to make him feel comfortable. Great, we put in the time. He'd go home, go right back out there because I want to keep out working and keep shooting. You know, like that's the way it is. Name of the game here. If you want to be the best, you got to put in the work. So, you know, I just sit here and I'm always admiring the guys that I'm with and what they have to say, and then I always think we're saying the same thing. There's got to be something different. You know, I know you guys want to work and be the best, so you just got, plain and simple, you got to outwork the next guy, even if it's your best friend here. All right. So I wanted to, I guess, to do a stick work drill that I do every day, and it speaks volumes to what Ben was just saying on creativity. Things can become monotonous, and you just keep going through the same reps. For me, as a player, no matter what size you have, big, small, fast, slow, the most important thing with lacrosse is to have a full range of motion. What I mean by that, your stick work, your shot, you need to be able to shoot at all angles, you do a pass at all angles, to the point where you don't even think about it, okay? Because when you're in a game, as you guys keep getting to a higher level, the time to react shorter and shorter, okay? So those who can react quicker at a higher level become better, okay? And that's basically it. So the first drill we're gonna do is it's just a stick work drill. Does anyone here remember it? It was here last year, anything like that? I know there's a couple guys that I know well who I tell them every year, so I'll be pissed if they don't remember it. But all right, so what we're gonna do is I'm gonna start right-handed, simple overhand, right-handed. And for you guys should be going this at least 25 reps against the wall, all right? I'm not here to talk to you guys about hand positioning, proper technique, and stuff like that. All right, watch film to figure that out. All right, if you haven't already, which I'm sure you have. We're gonna go to the left hand. All right, so we've gone overhand, both very basic. All right, you gotta warm up your strength, so, and everyone knows here, overhand shot, overhand passes are always a strength. All right, but you gotta be able to do everything in any situation. After 25 high, I always go 25 sidearm. All right, now I'm starting to work my wrists in a different capacity, and I'm snapping the ball here. If I got a defender on my hip and one coming towards me here, I need to make that pass. I'm making that pass. Next thing I go is 25 sidearm left, all right? And I'm working on snapping my wrist with my weak hand and bringing that ball towards the target. All right, anyone know what's next? Anyone figure it out? Any geniuses here? Underhand? So we're gonna go underhand now, all right? So we're working on that full range of motion. Overhand, sidearm, underhand, and we wanna be prepared for any situation we're in, all right? Quick tip on an underhand pass, okay? A lot of people drop their shoulder like a golf shot, and if you start low, you're gonna finish high, and that's why you see those balls, the underhand balls skyrocket, all right? You're gonna all miss the cage. I miss the cage a lot, I shoot 25%, all right? But, you know, you want to understand why you miss the cage. You miss a cage, you want to miss pretty accurately, close. So an underhand pass should be really pulling with your bottom hand up, snapping with your top hand this direction. Everything I do, I try and keep my shoulders square. Use momentum, though, with your hips and stuff. But by square, I mean on the same plane like this. All right, next drill, 25 lefty underhand. All right, if you guys are struggling with your weak hand, which I did big time in high school, the biggest key for me was just get in front of a mirror without a ball, or even the screen in your backyard, and look at what your right hand motion looks like, from overhand, sidearm, underhand, and then see what you're doing with your left hand. I could have sworn for 2 years I was playing overhand lefty. My coaches were always telling me I was playing at sidearm, and every time I'd walk away, you know, finger up, you know, but I saw myself in the mirror, and sure enough, I was going a little bit sidearm, like 3/4, right? So recognizing that, all right, is really important. All right, so we got 25 overhand, 25 sidearm, 25 underhand. Now we're gonna break it down to like simple free throws. All right, take your top hand, don't cheat, don't pull it up, don't bring it down. Same spot it would be for me. My stick placement, I lock my butt in with my elbow. All right, and that's where I find the most leverage. All right, so we're going now 25 one-handed passes, all right, towards our target. Speaking more of the creativity of what Rabil was talking about. We're going 25 lefty, switching our hips, stepping, doing it properly. All right, working on snapping our wrists, the right motion. Next drill I'm gonna do I'm gonna drop my top hand now, and now I just have my bottom hand. All right, so I'm still stepping. I'm not doing this, okay? I'm doing this, right-handed, top hand gone, working on following all the way through. Most difficult pass to make. Never gonna make it in a game really, but you're working on isolating that muscle twitch and that type of stick handling, all right, across your body. So you want to break down every element. And basically what we're doing here too, I also take on the shooting field and do it shooting. All right, you know how hard it is to catch a ball, shoot it hard on net with your bottom hand? Really hard. Really hard to even hit the cage, but you're still working on that certain muscle twitch and that muscle memory. And you put both hands on it and you start shooting the ball really well. Okay? So we've got 25 this way now. All right, the next drill we do is we put both hands on it. Now we're sort of fundamentally going to quick sticks. So it's going to feel like you've got all the control in the world after going 100 passes with both hands, with your top hand and bottom hand. Then we'll go to our left hand quick sticks. All right, getting in and out of our stick. Not catching the ball. For you older guys, imagine that ball's on a rope. All right, so it's coming from a rope out of my stick into a rope in his, and you don't want to stop it. All right, you're catching it back. We used to practice working on catching it behind our heads. If you can imagine it, catching it back here, all right, working on that type of hand-eye coordination. I'm not quick sticking it almost, but again, you're working on handling the ball properly. So far, we've gone overhand, righty-lefty, sidearm, righty-lefty, underhand, righty-lefty, one hand, righty-lefty, one-handed bottom hand, righty-lefty, quick sticks. All right, now we're going to go behind the back. Quick stick, quick instruction on behind the back. Your normal pass is a push-pull motion, isn't it? Basic, pushing with your top hand, pulling with your bottom hand. You're behind the back, that's a behind the back. It's phrased in properly in America. They call it, the Canadians call it right. It's a backhanded pass. It should be, all right? Your pass should come from here, and it's just the opposite of your overhand pass. You're now pushing with your bottom hand and pulling with your top hand, and it's just a simple snap over your head, all right? So this pass, I use very often since I've graduated and played in the NLL, which is the indoor game. You become very confident with a behind-the-back pass, where I'm in a situation, a slide's coming, a guy's on me, and Justin's open, I can snap it right to him, all right? The other thing we're doing, a lot of people don't, is we're looking at our target. So many behind-the-back passes do that. Don't do that. Look at your target, all right? Lastly, when you're snapping it over your shoulder, it's a backhanded pass. Your direction comes from your passing shoulder, your left shoulder right here. If you're throwing righty, you're throwing lefty, and your right shoulder, okay? So if Justin moves this way, I'm just turning my shoulder towards him. He comes around me. I don't have to break as much because he's just right there, all right? Now he goes this way. He's coming back. I'm following him with my shoulder. The more he goes that way, the more I have to turn to him, all right? But each time, I'm going to send one at him. I can send a couple probably pretty hard at him. Just something that, again, is repetition. You practice it as much as you can to a point where it's second nature. And if you're in a situation where you have to make the pass, you can make it accurately. All right? All right. So, went behind the back 25 times. Last one, I'd like to go around the world again. Not something that I'm not great at, and a pass that I will not make in a game, very rarely. In an indoor game, I will, because it's just such a small space. You don't have much time to switch hands.
How many guys pass it?
But again, we're working on a full range of motion. You have to be true to that, okay? And we're getting our accuracy from turning your hips, turning that shoulder around to him.
Behind the back, both ways.
Oh, right one.
Behind the back, we can do left. Do both of them. Try and get it, like you said, look in the mirror. Try and get it the same right as it's left.
So, anyone recap for me? That stick work drill. Does anyone remember it? I've been doing it since I was in 8th grade.
Recap means
Been doing it since I was in 8th grade. Hey, I mean, no, look, there's a lot of stuff to it, right? But half of it was given to me, half of it I made up along the way. But it's just been something that's worked for me, and I find myself with one of the better sticks in the game, barring some of the barring like a John Grant Jr. and guys like that are just out of this world with it. But overhand, sidearm, underhand, one-handed, one-handed bottom hand, quick sticks, behind the backs, around the world. I go that 3 times through. All right? And when I was younger, okay, speaking of competition with yourself sometimes, I would go through a whole cycle and I would try and be perfect at it. And if I dropped the ball, I would start from the beginning. And a lot of times in my backyard, I never made it to the field to shoot because I could never get through a stick work drill because I'd drop a ball, right? Sometimes I blame it on the brick wall. It's shitty sometimes. So it's dark. But regardless, if you dropped it, you start from the beginning. I think what we're going to do if we have time maybe